Welcome back to DM-Nastics, the gym for dungeon masters to work out their minds. I'm one of your hosts, DM Neil, aka Jote Maniac.
And it's me, your other host, DM Celeste, aka Sea Witch.
Dun dun dun! And it's been a long time.
It has.
Dear listener, you don't know that, but for us it's been a long time, just
Yes.
based on our personal recording schedules. But we're going to jump back in today with another article. And again, I think it speaks to the base concept, because this is definitely not what I thought I was going to get when I read it, because I'm so used to all of the other articles that we've read. But which article are we looking at today?
Yeah, so we're looking at Dungeons & Dragons, 10 random encounters for On the Road. And this is published in The Gamer and by Rosa Baumgartel.
Ooh,
Cool,
wow.
I don't think we've seen anything from Rosa yet.
No, but I mean, talk about an NPC name.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Baumgartel. Done.
Baumgartel. I'm just guessing. I went with my instincts on how to say that, so I'm sorry, Rosa, if I totally butchered that.
But yeah, it's an interesting one because I feel like, and I don't want to get too into the weeds because that almost feels like more of like, main topic thing. But the idea of like how many encounters do you really have when you're on the road? Even the ones you do have, how big do you make them? Because on one hand, everyone kind of knows that is it meaningful? Is it not meaningful? Are you trying to make it meaningful? So they're tough. Let's just throw it out there.
Let's just say, 5e doesn't make it easy to have exploration-based encounters, which on the road would typically kind of fall into that category. So it's hard, yeah. So I'm eager to hear what Rose has come up with.
So initially, my thought was, concepts and then just general ideas and like a smattering of, almost like one sentence blurbs
Like
for
little hooks or, little flavor. No?
But as an alternative version, Rosa decided that each of these would be more of like a fleshed out.
Oh.
Like, I almost like if I copy paste this into something like home brewery, and, get the water splotches and get a couple pieces of art, it feels almost like something that you could find on the guild.
Cool.
Which just felt very, very almost
on
weird.
for an article, yeah. But
I thought so too.
For
I
an
was
internet
like,
article, but
yeah, I'm like, this isn't how this goes. But then that's the thing. If I assumed that was how it went and chose then because of that not to read it, then I wouldn't have gotten the experience that I did.
Yeah.
So we can go through them. We can pick a couple because, like I said, they're more fleshed out than I was expecting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's just dive in. Number 10. Oh, wow. I will also say great art throughout this, and I really like all the piece names are listed on the thing with the artist names. That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, well done.
That's
well
nice.
done on your attribution. And for number 10, we have Shifty Traveling Merchant.
Ah. Oh, wow. It's like a whole thing.
That was the most surprising part. We're literally, okay, so heading towards the party is a small coach with 2 horses, hurriedly driven onwards. Upon interacting with the sweaty driver, the players may determine that he's in a rush and trying to get away from a mob that's chasing after him. The salesman has been visiting small towns and villages, selling wyvern oil.
Oh, no.
In exchange for valuable possessions from desperate townsfolk. If the players refuse to let him leave, he's willing to sell the possessions at a massive discount and continue to outrun the angry mob. Many of these items are mere trinkets and silverware, but if they sift through the junk, the party can uncover common magical items.
Okay. Well, this is really interesting because it kind of strikes a balance between specific and opening, like leaving enough room for you to put in your own stuff, because it doesn't define what common magical items are in there, and it doesn't say what wyvern oil is or what it is used for. If it is fake, we assume it's probably like snake oil, right? Yeah. Because there's a mob chasing him. But why are they desperate? What does wyvern oil fix? I don't know.
Yeah, and like I said, I can just see this like on the guild.
Yeah, totally.
Pay what you want, or 99 cents, 199, something around that range. It's just like, here's 10 encounters for your on the road traveling.
Okay.
It's really straightforward. There's a lot you could do with the merchant. The other, I think, is finding that merchant that feels almost out of place.
Right.
And are they hiding themselves as this merchant, but they are in fact someone else?
Yeah.
Is it a notable NPC for your campaign? Is it someone else? Is it just fun? Those are the other ideas I think of with this one.
Yeah, it's cool. They're almost more like inspirational prompts
Yeah.
All right. I dig it. I'm ready to hear more of these. This is kind of cool.
Okay, so I read that one in its entirety
Yeah.
just to give the feel for what we're really working through. We definitely won't read them all, but I wanted to make sure we properly conveyed what's happening right now. So number 9 is a moral quandary.
Whoa. Okay, so all right, so beyond the tree line, party spots. Okay, so there's a house on fire. There's a big crowd outside. They're all holding buckets but refusing to help extinguish the fire. And there are 2 people who are actually trying to save the house all by themselves, begging for people to help. And so the house that's on fire is owned by a wealthy family, and the family heavily taxes the locals, so they're bad. Okay. They also point out the gold doesn't burn. Okay, so they're letting the house burn down to ransack it? Oh my God.
That's what their buckets are for.
Whoa.
Or to pick up stuff later on.
Wow.
Yeah. So does the party choose to help or choose to wait or choose to leave?
Yeah. Okay, because it's the home of some rich, snobby people versus these villagers literally watching it burn. Wow. That is interesting. I like it as like a little social kind of encounter. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And again, it really lays into like that. Okay, but let's say I do, you or I have our parties go through that sort of thing. It's difficult for that not to feel like it's meaningful.
Yeah.
And, and that doesn't really change because, the perspective is, I mean, for the most part, when I say you're also looking at it through the lens of someone who's producing an actual play to be listened to. So the likelihood that any of that time and space that you take up is trivial and we'll just say that word just for an easy frame of reference is very low. And your players know that. And that's kind of the agreement. But at the same time, if I just do this at my home game, the likelihood that my players will think this is a trivial encounter is also very low.
Yeah.
There's no, I don't envision my players being like, well, that was fun, and then just gallop on to the next thing.
Yeah, there's definitely like a what's going on with these villagers. Like clearly we have another layer to here. There is absolutely an adventure here, right? What's the situation? This would definitely spin into more of a story, I think, or an arc than an encounter.
Yeah, with a lot of follow up. Yeah, I guess that's this begs to be followed up.
Yes,
kind of thing. This next one, maybe not. So basically, your party's walking through. Oh, so this one is entitled "Surprise Party." So your party's walking through the forest. Lo and behold, and they get like your classic pulled up into the tree line with a blanket or net or whatever, and all these people are like excitedly coming out of the woodworks. Yeah. Only to realize that you are not the person that they were trying to capture. They were trying to capture their friend to like scare them and give them the surprise party. So the big hope here in the prompt, the hope is maybe that none of your players start attacking these 4 innocent townsfolk who are just like playing a prank.
Just playing a prank. Oh my God, this feels like such a disaster.
Happen. Just murder.
Oh
How dare you? Yeah.
Wow. These are really interesting because, they're definitely like, if you have a party that is just like in a rhythm, right? Like, here's what we do every session. We go here. There's a fight. We have it done. Like, throwing something like this at them would be a really good way to shake things up and remind them that, not everything is formulaic, for sure.
And then my favorite is the line at the end is, they're invited to attend the party as an apology. And
that's
the other thing
nice.
is, because what do you do? What do you do from there? Is it a bigger question of, okay, if the person's not here, then where are they?
Yeah.
Does that become important, or do they go to the party and then that's it? Or, there's a lot of things you could spin out from there. But again, it'd be tough. I feel like almost you need to be able to have that conversation with your players that this isn't more. This is here. This is something to kind of, like you're saying, like breaking up the, not even monotony, just that kind of cycle. Just like break that cycle. This is super funny. It's just there's a mistake. We're so sorry.
Yeah.
Kind of scenario.
I can see these working as like, sometimes like when we do, downtime style sessions or episodes, like these would be really good, like random either complications for downtime activities or like events that happen during that, because they are, a little bit lighter and a little more story focused. I can see things like this really shining in that situation.
Yeah, and again, like finding, the space and place, like, again, and it is very fun for both of us to be here because, again, most of the things I write are just for a home table. Almost everything you write is to be produced. Actual play, again, home table. But because I think about, like, how interesting of a single session could you have from this experience with one of your players?
Yeah.
Like you said, they are having that downtime moment, and then you go through this debacle where they've been captured but invited to a party. But then, and even, for you or me, we could have that be a touch point of an NPC that they now know. Like, do they connect better with this person was named Ash, but do they connect with that NPC whose party it was supposed to be? And now you have that point of reference. And everyone from the party, you'll probably not remember them, but they will
remember you.
Remember that you were the person they kidnapped when they should not have.
Oh, boy.
Oh, what do we have for number 7?
Number 7, I just love this title, Ominous Rock. Okay, it's pretty hard to miss it. Far along off the road, maybe in the plains or mountains, there stands a 10-foot tall boulder. So when approached, the rock comes gently. So the party finds the rock, and to add more mystery, residents of the closest village warn the travelers about the rock. They mumble prayers and whisper about it. There's a big secret about this rock is that it is a normal rock. There's no magic, no cool backstory. If the adventurers don't leave it alone, then maybe the big rock of paranoia ends up as the campaign's big bad. Watch them totally obsess over this inert stone. Oh my god, Rosa, who hurt you?
Yeah. So the funniest version of that is like, so if anyone that's watching some of the more recent like D&D Direct or things that they're coming along the way, one of the things that have been alluded to is that the black obelisks that have been showing up. Oh my gosh, what if they didn't mean anything? Obviously, obviously that's not what's going to happen. But how funny would that be? Where it's like, no, they're just normal rocks.
Just big
Nothing's happening.
Rocks. Whoa. Again, a very funny thing to put on a random encounter table for sure.
Yeah, I don't know that I could make them meaningless. If I'm gonna put a rock and have them go out there, I don't know that I could do that. I mean, at least not long term. I feel like I'd eventually have to make something out of them, but maybe I don't. This next one is you use at your own risk. This can only work to the degree at which it can work for your table, because this one is entitled A Haunting Display.
Oh boy.
Where basically there's like a 50-foot tall tree that is covered in clean bones, it's difficult to see the tree itself.
Oh boy.
And the levels to which that can be, because I think of the scene out of 300 where they make a tree of people. And so the varying degrees to which this can be, depending on what your campaign is. If this is Call of Cthulhu, let's go. We're all in, and we're going to have some sanity checks based on what you've seen. Or is it something else? Is it something darker? Have you already alluded to the fact that something like this could potentially be showing up because you're going deeper into a specific area that's been controlled by a necromancer for, 1,000 years? And something like this is not shocking. It's only confirming the things that you've already known. But yeah, I think it could work really well.
Did you see the second paragraph? So if somebody disturbs the roots, they find heaps of nicely wrapped gifts, like boxes and parcels tied with string and shiny and new. And so that's the contrast with the horrible tree. That's so bizarre.
It's me, Krampus.
Yes, for every murder, you get a present, little girl.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a weird mystery for sure. My players would not be able to leave that alone. Absolutely not. It would have to become a whole thing. Yeah.
Oh, it would in fact be a whole thing.
There's 0% chance this wouldn't be a whole thing. Okay. Well, interesting.
Next one.
couples counseling. Soon after setting off at sunrise, the party comes upon a heated argument. So two people fighting. If the party intervenes, the couple explains they agreed to a duel to sort out who is wrong. Okay. Oh, it's a married couple that are dueling with each other. She's convinced only married her to get a state. Now he intends to sail it. Whoa, he accusing his wife of making a deal with a local mage to force him to fall in love with her? What the hecky? Okay. Wow. All right. So basically, it's just two people to have in this fight. And the party has to decide what they want to do about it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You just hang out and watch these two people duel.
Like kill each other? Yeah. Or like... huh.
Yeah, how much follow-up is it? You know, are you hunting the mage down?
Yeah.
Are you looking deeper into the family that, you know, that this wife is attached to? Are you not doing nothing and moving on?
I think you could only really use this if you knew you had like a nosy bard in your party who just needs to get in everybody's business. Because otherwise, I think your average D&D player would just go, no, thank you, and then walk around that. Walk right around that.
Just like your average person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No,
you see two people duking it out in the grocery store parking lot. You are not going to want to be a part of that. Okay.
I'm gonna
just
drive
drive right on past that. Put your headphones in and pretend music is playing. Goodbye. Well, okay. What's the next one?
A good deed.
Ooh.
So, at the edge of town, a young dwarven girl is singing, and basically, she's terrible.
Yeah.
And doing so is being made fun of, but basically, it's like a young dwarven bard who's using their skills to, like, make money. Like, you know, basically busking to get by, and they're not very good at it. So, like, and this NPC is going to refuse if, you know, the players are like, oh, here's some gold. No. You worked hard for that. And I'm working hard for what I'm getting. That, you know, that's how this works. And then the funny thing is, do they show her how to do something else like juggling or gambling? It's like, oh okay.
Yeah, again, this totally, I think, depends on what kind of party you have, whether or not somebody's going to care or get invested in this poor stranger. Yeah, that's really interesting.
I would say because depending on your players, and depending on your players, and depending on how they want to play their characters, there's nothing to say that some of your players may just join the people making fun of her. Like, you know, depending on, you know, what type of people and characters you have at the table. So again, everything with caution.
Yeah.
Speaking
my God.
Speaking of, this is probably one of my favorites.
Okay, you do it.
Questionable
tell us,
combat.
Yes. Wow.
So basically, you're just wandering along, and out of the woods jumps the most disheartened goblin.
Just one.
Like, I'm gonna get you.
Just one.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you. You're like, wait, what? And basically, like, they hit the players or the PCs and do non-lethal damage. Like their heart is just not into it. So, do your PCs stop and say, hey? What's going on here?
Buddy, are you okay?
And so basically this person was guiding a group of smaller goblins, thought they heard a group of rival goblins, and then ran off. And now they feel bad and their heart's just not in the game anymore.
And they just want to make it look like they got beat up before going back to their people.
Yep. Oh, that's what, yeah.
Wow, this is excellent. This is something I would absolutely use. To introduce people, maybe like if they're heading towards a village or something, like where the goblin lives, like have this encounter on the way there. So then maybe like if they do make peace with it or whatever, the goblin can kind of bring them back to, you know, the location, and then maybe they can be in on some kind of story or deal, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, this is funny. It would be hard to sell this mechanically, I feel like, but yeah. Like, do you roll initiative? Like, because this guy is just gonna get exploded if he, you know, doesn't go first.
How willing are the PCs to lie?
Right.
about the whole process of like, do they beat this goblin up a little, but then understanding that the next step then is to go find these goblin children that have been stolen. And obviously, you know, a big part of this conversation is what, you know, what role do you have goblins playing in your world from, you know, they've been PCs in your game several times before, or is this the introduction of that concept? But yeah, I agree. The hardest part is selling the initial part where this goblin does not die a terrible death.
Right, yeah. Getting him not murdered for long enough to, like, for the PCs to realize he's dealing, like, non-lethal damage and having a fake fight, you know? Oh, man. Okay, well. Ooh.
The next one.
Up my alley. Love this art. Okay, so the next one is called Fairy Ring. So the players look for a clearing to make camp. They stumble across a ring of brightly colored mushrooms. Reveal it's a circle to the Feywild. Stepping in the ring, presenting the mushrooms with a small gift will whisk them away to the Feywild. Oh, cool. And so that's pretty much just it. Once you figure that out, you can use this ring to quick travel to random places in the world. Cool. So that's pretty neat, just finding this thing in the woods, and then, like, what do you do with it, right? With this knowledge, do you tell anyone? Do you use that? Like, that's pretty rad.
Yeah, in random places. I mean, there's so many. Again, all of these are written very well in the sense that there is a lot here, and in a lot of ways, a person could just not do anything and then still have a successful encounter. But they do leave a lot of things to be questioned, because my thought is like, okay, you're implying that I'm going to the Feywild, but you're also kind of implying that, like, am I just using the Feywild as a go-between of here and there? Or am I spending any actual time in the Feywild? Because the second I am, I got a lot of additional questions of who's going to see me do that.
Is that
How long am I actually in the Feywild? Yeah.
Am I stuck there?
What part of the
How
Feywild?
do I get back? You know? Yeah.
Or is it, you know, you think of like the more of that ethereal jaunt sort of vibe where I'm touching the edges of the ethereal plane. Or am I doing that here? Am I touching the edges of the Feywild? And that's getting me to that random spot in Faerun. And you say random. How random? Is it random every time?
Really random? Are there mushroom rings wherever you show up? Like, is this like a network, you know? Like that kind of... Because if it is a true teleportation circle, then it might be connected to other ones, you know? Like, there's a lot going on here. So I actually just kind of like this one, too, as an interesting resource, potentially, to throw at your party.
And a fun one, because, yeah, even if you are only touching the edges of the Feywild, that's enough.
Because also, if there is a way for creatures to come through this place, too... That's interesting if you discover that and you're like, uh-oh, this is like right outside a little village of like peaceful peasants. Is this a problem? You know?
Eventually.
No, it'll be fine. This last one, evocative name, Creepy Companion. Oh, for a truly unsettling adventure. After a long night's rest, the players find that their luggage has been rifled through, things removed from bag. After a thorough check, nothing is missing except the party's nerve. Each night, whenever someone fails a perception check, an invisible brownie darts out from the tree line and quickly searches the belongings. It never seems to find what it's looking for, but for a few nights, it will be all the adventurers can think about. A minor encounter meant to give the dungeon master a little kick.
Yeah.
What? That's so weird.
Just messing with them.
I'm just messing with them. I have so many questions, though. I feel like maybe I'm the player in this situation. I'm like, what is it? What does it want? What's going on?
Yeah. They didn't look at their like each bag each night, so it's only one bag at a time, and that's why it's coming back, because it's clearly not finding what it wants.
Yeah. This is also.
I also like the.
Go for it.
Well, the idea that, like, if someone fails, it's a really interesting mechanical and narrative concept. The idea that this brownie is aware enough of successful perceiving, which having not really thought about it in that way before makes a lot of sense. Like, what it fits into every like movie trope,
Yeah.
TV trope, everything like that. Like, oh, these guards are really attentive, and like, so clearly I can't do this. I need to go do this other thing instead. Or, oh, we need to try tomorrow night. It just was a simple, very simple concept where it's like, oh, well, yeah, this creature is aware enough to say, oh, you're doing a good job at perception. Well, then I can't do anything. Oh, you're not. You're falling asleep. You're spending too much time on the other side of camp. Oh, I can. I think it's just a really interesting thing.
This is something I've actually played with, like, as a potential design thing. Like, what if, somebody's, like, stealth score and perception score were the same? Because what if creatures that are good at sneaking up on people are probably really good at knowing when people are sneaking up on them? Like, that kind of play back and forth is something I've definitely thought about before. I was just going to say, this is interesting because Brownie isn't a stat block that exists in 5e or from Wizards 5e. If you do need one, guys, check out Kobold Press's Tome of Beasts 3. I believe we do have a Brownie stat block. So
that's funny.
That's an interesting little oddity. But just warning you, you will not find one if you use this. So,
well, I mean, that's why the adjective associated is invisible brownie.
Invisible brownie, yes. So yeah, it doesn't need stats. It's invisible. I don't know. I can see it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool. All right. Rosa, you gave me a lot to think about. I enjoyed it. Thank you, Rosa. Not what I expected either.
But if you enjoyed that and you want to head over to your podcatcher of choice and leave us a rating and review, that is always appreciated every single time.
Yeah. And if you want to reach out, you can always email us at dmnastics@gmail.com. And make sure to follow us on Twitter at DM-Nastics, me personally at C. Konowich, Neil at Jotmaniac, and for everything else on the network, visit blockpartypodcastnetwork.com.
As always, a huge thank you to the bards over at Bombarded for our intro and outro music, and for everything else they're doing, you can head over to bombardedcast.com. Let's head to the post-workout cooldown and stretch with the light bulb.
Light bulb.
So today, I don't know what we're going to talk about.
Oh, yeah, I have a thing.
Hello.
I have a thing. Hi, yeah. So, I wanted to share a really cool website tool that I've found recently, because if you all are like me and very stressed out all the time and don't have a lot of time for planning your games or creative thinking or writing in general, you might need a tool like what I've found on FreeWrite. So freewrite.com is actually a website. They make these really cool devices that are single use, all about focusing. So draft only writer stuff. So it's all about focusing, tuning everything else out of the world. And these devices are very cool, but very expensive. So I'm here to tell you about their free tool that they have on their website. It's called Sprinter. And essentially what it is, it's just like a web browser thing, totally free, you can log into, and it gives you a 15-minute timer and very minimal editing tools at all, and it's just a place to write. So you just do these 15-minute writing sprints. So this is super great if you're planning a game, or you just need to build out a little bit of something for your world, but you don't have a lot of time because it's just a 15-minute thing. You focus in there and you just get your ideas out in one cool sprint. And so this is a tool I've been leaning on a lot, just doing 15 minutes a day in the morning, just for creative stuff, before life gets hectic. So I definitely recommend you all check it out. You can go to sprinter.getfreewrite.com, or just type in Sprinter or FreeWrite, and you'll be able to go there and play around with it. It's also got a nice word count tracker, and, it counts that time for you. So super easy, totally free.
That's awesome. We'll have a link more directly to the Sprinter so that you're not terrified. Because if you, like me, just type in freewrite.com, you're going to be terrified by the numbers that are...
Oh dear, sprinter.getfreewrite.com. Follow the link. Sprinter is the keyword there.
Whoa, because if you don't, it's a lot.
Oh geez, sorry. But no, do this. Get a writing tool.
Yeah, and those... we'll save it because we'll probably find some others. This is a really good topic to have more conversations
Mm-hmm.
around, just because, my one my father had many pearls of wisdom, and one of the ones he always said is that he noticed that we had, like, as a society, we had transformed from the instant information
Mm-hmm.
age to the constant
Yes.
information age, and we transitioned into that where my phone buzzes, but if I'm not paying enough attention to my phone, my watch is going to buzz to tell me the same thing, and I have just by chance in the long time I have 3 screens at my desk set up.
And those are just your
Also, they're
desktop
not this.
screens, let alone,
Yeah.
your phone screens and, smartwatches. And yeah, everything's pinging and bugging. And it is very hard to
Yeah.
get, like, even just 15 minutes of focus like this. It is amazing how much you can accomplish if that is something you commit to and just do every day.
Yep. So fantastic. And again, we'll have a link.
Yes.
More directly. So you're not, the sticker shock does not blow your mind. But with that, we'll turn out the lights and head out of the gym. Before we go, though, I want to implore you, the listener, to join the forums, the Discord, Twitter, and anywhere else you can find us and take part in these challenges, exercises, and other amazing conversations being had.
To do that, head over to dungeonmasterblock.freeforums.net and try some DM-Nastics so your players don't ask you, do you even live?